Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another session of Low Stress High Mayhem with GameRT, the Games and Gaming Roundtable, the American Library Association. I am Danielle Costello. Normally, I'm a research and instruction librarian for Louisiana State. I'm currently the GameRT event programming chair, but today I'm here to facilitate our storytelling shenanigans. And with me here, I have my fellow storyteller, Molly. Molly, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Molly. I am an adult services librarian in Louisiana, but today I am going to be telling stories and probably not remembering the thing I just said. And my pronouns are she, her. So yes.
Thank you, Molly. And now this event is being held live. However, if you need to leave or if you would like to watch it again, we have Twitch video on demand, which will be accessible right after we end. And if you aren't following us on Twitch already, please give us a follow. We do a lot of shenanigans, particularly several events that are going to be coming up later in April. So all the links to where you can find us, to where you can register for those events will be added in the chat as soon as I'm done doing all the spiely type stuff. And for anyone not familiar, we of the Games and Gaming Roundtable, the American Library Association, are dedicated toward the mission of bringing games to the library, whether it's programming, collection development, community building, prototyping, playtesting, research, or just having a fun time with y'all. We are here to help. Please follow us on all our different channels and Discord so that way we can help you bring gaming into your own spaces. So for April, our upcoming delicious, wonderful events are going to be in the April 14th. We're having a roundtable where we address censorship. For this one, we are partnering with the Graphic Novels and Comic Roundtables Addressing Challenges Committee. That is a lot to get out, but we will be discussing historical censorship of popular media and how we are fighting challenges in the library right now and how we can deal with all that and face it together. On the 21st, we are going to have a webinar on Roll to Reflect, how youth can build social and emotional skills with tabletop role-playing games. So this is going to be with Foundry 10, who are presenting their research that they did with the during kind of the COVID pandemic, had a deep impact on youth stress levels and social opportunities, creating kind of an increased need to create ways to support and develop youth social and emotional skills. So during that time, Game to Grow partnered with Foundry 10 to evaluate social and emotional learning that occurred in their TTRPG programming for youth. All that research and all the things that they found out about youth and TTRPGs will be available during that presentation. So come and see how you can support your patrons with TTRPGs. And then on April 28th, I'm so very excited for this one. We are partnering with the Graphic Novels and Comic Roundtable, as well as Film and Media Roundtable for a 3RT super spectacular to celebrate not only National Month, the monthly superhero month, but also Superhero Day. And we're going to be discussing all our favorite super media, from games to graphic novels, films. We're going to have roundtables. We're going to have actual play sessions. We're going to see if ChatGPT is actually as evil Ultron or more like a Jarvis. All those good things were to come in April. So that all said, let's get into today's Low Stress High Mayhem session, where we're going to be playing the game Were You Paying Attention by Beth Jackson of Beth and Angel Makes Games. So be prepared for some exciting communication and ridiculous miscommunication with this game. And let's see, I don't actually have any slides. I'm just going to do this live. Yay. Usually Russell, I'm like, and Russell, now it's time to do things, but that's okay. My Twitch goblin not here today. So this is a one-page TTRPG game, very simple to learn, very simple to play, and I'm just going to go over the rules right now. This is a storytelling game of miscommunication. So I'm going to try, and a lot of the emphasis on this game is, let me just read the intro for you. Were You Paying Attention is a game about, well, paying attention. It reminds us that paying attention has a literal cost, focus, and that it's important not to overtax listeners with too much information. How do you learn that, you ask? By overwhelming your opponents with so much information, of course. This is a competitive world, and the only way to win is for everyone else to lose, obviously. Players will take turns receiving single pieces of information that they'll need to tell other players. Easy, right? No, wrong, because we have only a few minutes to spew as much information at our opponent as possible while bearing that single piece of important information in that process. If they can recall that information, good for them and you, as long as at least one player gets it wrong. But be careful, each player will get to ask you about something that you said, and you will be rewarded if you can't remember. So the gameplay pretty much goes, we decide how many rounds to go. So I guess as many rounds as we can take up in this hour. We'll go back and forth, Molly. I think that works out pretty good for you. Okay, excellent.
For sure.
And then we decide on who would like to go first. Since you are the guest, Molly, would you like to go first?
Yes. Hold on.
Excellent. So you get to roll 2d6.
Okay. I got 2 both times. Okay.
Excellent. And then you have the PDF of the table. So within the game, there is a table called the good part, and it decides things like activity, animals, places, drinks, weather of the story, like little pieces of information that Molly will kind of shape to form the core of what she wants to convey, or rather hide in her story.
Okay. So, I think you're going to need to time me, or do I time me?
I will time you.
Okay.
And then let me get that out. And while that's happening, let me put a link to the resources so that way anybody who wants to look at this game can do so, because what is wonderful is it's right now part of a bundle on itch.io, which is for a great cause. It's for TTRPGs for trans rights in Florida. The whole game bundle is $5 for 500 games, and you're supporting a lot of good organizations fighting the good fight down in Florida. So please take a look at that. And you got your table, and I got your minute. And one imagines that we can go back and like let you finish. Like I won't just cut you off. I'll be like, okay, that's a minute, and you can finish where you want.
Right.
And then so everybody else knows how the gameplay is played, the minute will happen. Molly will tell her story. And then when the story is concluded, Molly will ask me a question about what the good part was from the story, whether I was paying attention or not. If I get it right, then I can ask a question of Molly and be like, okay, well, did you remember this part of your story? And then points given for correct answers, no points for no correct answers. And we'll play until most points wins.
Okay.
Let's go. Are you ready? Are you ready to tell me a story, Molly?
I mean, I'm not, but I'm gonna.
Once upon a time, your time starts now.
Okay. So this is a story all about how my life did not get flipped, turned upside down. No. So okay. One day I went to my dad's house, and he had this cat at the time named Niblet, and I love Niblet. And Niblet had this this penchant for drinking out of his cup of water, and it was very silly of her. So Niblet, she was kind of a tortie, and she was sitting on this red chair, and I own the red chair now. I took it from them. And so Dad had gone to the bathroom, and he had a cup of water, and she was sitting on the red chair acting like nothing happened, and she got down as soon as he walked off and went and like started drinking out of the cup of water. And before now, I hadn't believed that this happened. I was like, Dad, you're full of it, you know? And so then she went back as soon as she heard the toilet flush and got on the chair and was sitting there like nothing happened, but she has all of this fur. And so she had this like wet water beard coming off of her with like these fat droplets of water. And it was my favorite thing. And I could not stop laughing. Niblet
That is time.
Okay. Very silly cat. So, okay.
That was a lot of details. I'm very excited.
Where is the chair now?
You own the chair.
I do own the chair.
You own the chair. Oh, thank goodness. Because as we're going through, I think the added layer of I'm watching stream and figuring out kind of the direction of this entire like segment. And then I'm like, wait, no, story must focus. Okay. What were the 3 words you started your story with?
I'm pretty sure I said, now this is a story all about, no,
it was, okay, so.
Darn it.
that was almost there. That was almost there. So, and for the audience, I didn't clarify this, but it doesn't have to be an actual factoid. Like I could have asked about what color was the chair you told me. It can also be about the storytelling process. It's like, what were the first words? Did you cough? Did you take a drink of water? I now realized I started hardcore, and we'll get this energy back. Okay. So remember that as we're going in and playing.
Okay. So then you got to roll, yeah?
Okay. Yeah. So I get 2 points.
Yes.
And I will roll my 2 dice.
Uh-huh.
And then chat, if you also want to participate in like
Yes,
answer
play.
2, if you get the answer right, then you can ask a question of us as well.
Yeah,
And we'll
maybe
give the
we can
points.
give a
Yeah,
few
we'll give each other.
seconds to think of our answers while chat tries to type things.
Yes, it's just
Yeah.
okay. And let me look at the so I got 1 and a 4. Which I'm helping you find out the section I
Right.
realize now. Is there another? Secrets, yes. Okay. Do you want to time me, Molly? Because otherwise I won't pay
Yes.
attention to the timer.
Yes,
I'll just be
give me
like,
just a
"Ooh, and
second.
here's the
I'll get it
story."
up. I'll get it up. Hold on. Okay. Ready?
And
Go.
start. Okay, so I was in Okinawa, Japan. My dad was in civil service and got to get a job overseas. And one of my favorite, this is like a core memory, like this is one of my most important memories and is a real one, was when I was in middle school. We went with our youth group to the beach. And in Okinawa, there's a lot of different properties that the base has kind of on beach kind of property. So you can just be staying at, I don't know, like a little community center, and then the beach is out there. And I remember we stayed overnight and they're just like, do whatever you want, which I was like, that seems dangerous, but okay. And I got to go out and I swam when it was completely dark out. And the moon was out, every star you could see in the sky. There was very low light pollution. And when I was swimming, I just sat on my back and just floated. And it was as if I was swimming in a sea of stars. Like I remember nothing else from that. Like I don't remember what we ate for breakfast. I don't know how I got there and
That's a
back,
minute.
but it was just the most wonderful, glorious experience. Okay. So what is the time frame of my story? Like when did this happen?
When you were a kid, but I don't know about more specific than that. I'm real bad
There
at
was a
this.
specific detail, and I'm going to ask Chad as well.
Oh, do you mean when you were in Okinawa, or do you mean when you were on the beach?
I gave it kind of, it's a time frame in my life that I gave.
Okay, then middle school?
Yes, that was it.
Yeah. Okay.
And we didn't give the chat much time. Oh no.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, chat.
But
now you know how to play. Now you know how to play, chat.
Yes. Okay.
But yes. So it was, yeah.
Okay. So let me see. I have a question, but I have to think of my question. Dang, if you're focusing so much on the other thing, you know? Okay. Yeah, I can't think of one. What was your dad doing in Okinawa?
He was in civil service. He got a job over
that's
there.
one that you were going to think of either way. Okay. All right. So nice.
Yay. And that's how it's played. Like, and now we get to play as many rounds as we want. It's interesting because it's like I both want to tell a very like elaborate and comprehensive story, but a minute is not very long. But also kind of in my mind, it's like if I just like there was a green orange chair and the sky was purple gray, and that like if I start doing that, you're just gonna write details and be like, mess me
For
up.
sure. Exactly. And I won't remember in time. So
I know the strategy for this one.
No. Okay, I was trying to do a fun background, but I saved it in the wrong spot. So oh well. Okay. So let me look at the thingy again.
Oh, let's see. Chat said you said something was low. What was it?
You did?
No, to me. I have completely forgotten my story.
The moon was, or the moon was really big, and maybe the moon was.
Maybe the moon or the stars. Help me remember my childhood, chat. Oh, low light pollution. That's right. Oh no. A point for chat.
Okay. Wow, chat. You're gonna
chat
kick my butt.
Win.
Here's the thing, y'all. My memory is garbage. So
although this is Yeah, just one more point. This is good to remember, like when we're telling stories and we're trying to like express our, like we don't have to give as much detail as we do. It is
That's true.
okay.
That's true. That's
All
true.
right, let me get the timer out again. My phone locked. All right, and once upon a time.
Okay. So let's see. Once I went to my grandmother's house, and this is a real story. It's not like it starts fairy tale-y the way I said that, but it's not, I promise. I went to my grandmother's house, and my grandma is a master gardener, and she grows all kinds of stuff. She grows oranges and kumquats, and she grows figs, but she also grows a lot of flowers. And her friend Carolyn has a pecan tree. And so her house is always like the place to go for produce. And it's usually in this kind of late spring, early summer timeframe that the figs start to come in on the fig tree. And so I got to go to grandma's house, and she had picked a ton of them, and they are the best figs you have ever eaten. I don't know how to explain it. They're so good. And she makes like fig preserves, and I still have a jar of it, and it's probably not safe to eat anymore, but like I can't bring myself to throw it away because that's something that I'm always going to associate with her, you know, is those memories of just those times where I'm going over there and she's got this giant pile of figs that like no human being could ever go through.
And that
Yeah.
is time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of tree did her friend have?
That was a pecan tree. I remember that detail because that is my favorite tree.
It's a good tree.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like I think we did those like quizzes of like what kind of tree are you? Like what it says, and I'm like, I would be a pecan tree, 100%. The most useful, delicious tree on the planet. It's beautiful. I mean, it does start dropping things when it's
Yeah.
old and grumpy, I guess. So maybe
Yeah.
that's how I want aspirational when I'm old. I want to just be destructive.
Drop things.
Okay. So my question is, in your story, you gave a lot of fruit. I'm gonna be kind. So name 3 of the fruits that were in your story.
Oranges, kumquats, and do figs count?
Yeah, figs are part of the story. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then, Chad, do you want to ask a question of Molly?
Quiz me.
What important information? How did you
Tell
start
me
your
how
story?
badly. No.
That's super
No,
mean.
because it's probably just okay again. You
Yeah,
know?
okay. Oh, Danielle asked your question, but was nicer about it. Yay! I bet. Oh, chat might have had the order of like give the exact order you gave. I was like,
Yeah.
we're gonna be nice because I want the energy reflected back to me.
Right.
Oh yeah, it was the order. Which
Okay.
you got the order too. It was like oranges, kumquats, figs. That feels like a beginning of a nice poem too. Like
Yes. For sure.
okay. Let me roll my dice. Now this is definitely, I feel like, a storytelling game that works best verbally and doesn't matter because if I could read the text then scan real quick, it's like
for sure. Also, I can talk much faster than I can type. So
okay. Now I have to think of a story.
pressures.
And so Chad understands my confusion. These are very loose categories that you make a single detail about. So, all right. I am ready.
Okay. And go.
So as far as my gaming life, also true story, real life, one of the earliest systems I ever had was that I remember. I know we had like a Nintendo, like a regular old Nintendo, but the Sega was my very first system, and Sonic the Hedgehog, I believe it was 2, my very favorite game to play on that, but I feel too young and very, very bad at it. So the system that is closest and most dear to my heart is the PlayStation system, because my dad got me the wrong system when I asked for Christmas. He got a Nintendo 64, and I was like, I felt so bad because I was like, Daddy, please, I love you so much with all my heart, but you got the wrong thing. Can we go back and return this? And absolutely he did. And we got him a PlayStation, and we got Final Fantasy VII. But my most favorite game series of that entire system is Suikoden. Any Suikoden I love with a passion. Is because you get to collect characters, which I think I love best because you can make so many friends.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
All
Oh,
right.
that one's gonna be tough. All right.
Yes. Okay. Which was my very first game that I remember playing?
Sonic 2.
Yes. Ah, you got it. You got it. And now I'm happy that you got it. I'm like, let's like the whole like I feel like this was a competitive game. I'm like, no, it's collaborative. Did you get my details?
Yeah.
Because I give you a lot of games.
Yeah. Okay. What was the first game system that you said?
In kind of like chronological order.
Yeah.
Like chronological to my story or chronological to real time?
Real time.
The Nintendo.
Yes. Fine. Okay.
Yeah. I was like, wait, time is fuzzy wuzzy. Oh no. And then chat. This one feels like harder. Yeah, it is hard to like figure out how to tell an actual coherent story rather than here's some factoids about my actual life.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
do we want to take the next one and see how telling a fictitious story might play? Because like I feel like we remember the details of our life
Yeah.
pretty good, especially
Yeah.
when we're just instantly saying it. Let's try something like let's do a fantasy genre. Like we're making
Okay.
it spicy. We're hacking the game now. Let's do
Okay.
fantasy genre story.
Okay.
Only rule is like nonsense. Give each other grace for nonsense made up names.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's roll. Let's do this poop. Okay.
And I will also do the T for time, and then you can finish the last sentence. I think that's a good way of indicating. And
Okay. So one time I was walking along the road. It was about 3:30 and I ran into the silliest looking box. It was a police box. It was blue. And this person got out and they said, hey, do you want to come to another time with me? And I was like, you're a crazy person. And they said, no, trust me, it's bigger on the inside. And I was like, this is how you get killed. And then he was like, no, look. And he opens the door and I'm like, holy crap, it was bigger on the inside. Okay. So I decided, sure, this is probably how I'm going to die, but I'm going to die while having fun. And so I went into the blue box and then he said, okay, hold on, got to do some wibbly wobbly, timey wimey things. And then he pressed a button. Oh, okay. Yeah. He
that minute is so hard.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. See, the problem with this one is that with a question I need to ask you, I have to remember the things too. You know what I mean? Okay. What was the first thing that he said to me?
Do you want to go on an adventure through time or in time?
That's pretty close. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. All right, chat. If you can think of a question, we will ask it as well. My question is, so you thought you were gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
What was what you thought like after that? Like if you're gonna die.
Well, at least I'll die having fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job, team. Once again, not a team game.
Not a team game. Good job, other team.
Yeah. So we each get a point. I think we're pretty close.
Oh, I'm sure you're kicking my butt by now. Okay.
Once again, I'm also forgetting to take score. So all is
So
well.
am I.
Okay.
Everybody wins.
Yes. So before you said the box was a blue police box, how did you describe it?
Kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know what I said before that. I'm
Chat,
drawing a blank.
maybe chat's winning.
Chad is definitely winning. I'm telling you right
The
now.
silliest looking box. That's right.
Darn it. Y'all, when I said my memory was garbage, you didn't believe me, did you? Well, now you can see it's garbage. Okay. So
I would love to play this with little people because they have such good memories. Like my nieces would just lambast me if I forgot the tiniest detail.
for sure. Yeah. I can already imagine the absolute slaughter that will happen if I try to play this with our teens. So
Let's see. I got my roll, which is a secret. Yay.
mhm.
Yeah, I agree with Chad. It feels like it's easier to remember what other people are saying because you're looking for the good tidbits and harder
Exactly.
to like, because you as the storyteller are trying to hide that tidbit.
Right.
I feel this is definitely a game where practice is necessary and maybe like a house rule of an extra minute or two.
Yeah, that's especially if you're making something up, it's really hard to fit in that time frame.
I wonder if like kind of like the diminishing returns of the longer you get, the balance shifts to the storyteller because there's so much.
Yeah.
But we shall see. We'll try a minute from me in my fairy tale story.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Yes. Once upon a time, there was a mouse, a little teeny tiny brown mouse that lived in a castle. And this mouse was lived in the archives because it was a little librarian mouse. And it liked to go around and figure out, kind of all the mysteries of the castle and what's going on. And one day it went to the tippy top of the tallest tower and found out there was a girl there. A girl that wasn't supposed to be there because this was supposed to be an empty, abandoned tower. But I guess that's where you put princesses that, run amok and try and, create democrat reforms to your government when you're a monarchy. So there was a princess in the tower that was being held, and the mouse was like, well, this is just not, I don't like this. I'm going to have to help her. And so the mouse went down to the kitchen because the most important thing for the mouse was getting food and then figuring out a plan afterwards. So went back up, had a little charcuterie board with some Gruyere and some, little pine nuts. And like, it was a very small, because this is a mouse, like a regular sized mouse.
Right. Okay. So first off, that was wonderful. That mouse had big capybara energy. Okay.
Always. Okay. And so for my, this is also the problem is you got to get that detail in and you have to set up the story because my detail had to do with food. So what was the nut I said that the mouse brought up?
Pine nuts.
Yes, pine nuts.
Okay.
Correct. Okay.
What are the words you first used to describe the mouse?
I think I said it had a color, like it was a brown mouse. Oh no.
There was something else though too.
I have failed because I was telling a fantasy story. I was like, I'll just talk about this mouse and then move on.
You want me to tell you?
Yes, please.
It was a teeny tiny brown mouse.
It was a teeny tiny.
Okay.
Oh no. Okay, chat. Let's shame me again because my memory. Yeah, it's definitely harder when it's a fairy tale story because you're just boop. Where did this mouse go to in the tower? The tippy top.
The tippy top, yeah.
The tippy top. So yeah.
The tippy top of the tallest tower.
That does help. I wonder also, like in the mnemonics of storytelling, how you remember a story with the kind of play words, the sing-songy words.
Right.
If that helps, that would help more if you kind of incorporated more of like rhythm and rhyme and cadence as well.
The same, yeah, like telling the Odyssey back in the day, using all of those epithets of the names and trying to use
Ooh,
them as hooks. Yeah.
yes, and this would be a good kind of plug in for the story. So, do it straight, do it with things Now do the story with fairy tale type things.
Mhm.
You can do it with I imagine in a school library, you could do it with facts. Like
Mhm.
tell a story about something we just learned. And so having to like both tell the fact, but then also pull out the fact would help in
Right,
that kind of memory process.
for
But then
sure.
also like, hey, let's talk about the orator skills and like for that kind of thing as well. So I love micro games because they're small enough to fit in almost every kind of lesson and application for
Yeah,
libraries.
for sure. Okay.
Let's see,
Okay.
12:30. What do we want to, what kind of twist do we want to add this time?
I don't know.
Do we want to go to 2 minutes and see how that feels so we can test it out for the audience?
We can do that.
Yeah.
We can do
And
two
once
minutes.
again, audience, this is we're like kind of live hacking this because in libraries things don't always fit to what we need, our patron experience levels or kind of wants and desires. So
Mhm.
while the game exists and is beautiful and glorious on its own, we're going to just be playing around with it as well to kind of see how it might change and fit for our different communities.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's do 2 minutes, an experiment. All right, get your dice, roll.
Okay,
You ready?
ready.
And go.
So a long time ago, I lived a different life, I was an adventurer. I was a sailor. Um, and I had been coming back from this really long conflagration. This city, they stole my friend's wife. I say that, but then like she's got free will, right? So let's be real. Like um, but yeah, and we had all of these treaties, so we had to honor the treaties and go and fight, blah, blah, blah. And then we got lost on the way back and we were super lost. Um, we tried a lot of things. We tried navigating by the stars. We tried pulling over in our sailboat to ask for help. But when we tried that, some of us got turned into animals and it wasn't really a fun time. We tried asking a big old giant cyclops man because yeah, he's got one eye, but he's huge, right? So he can probably still see further than us. If he could like see and point us the direction, it wasn't working. But yeah, eventually, finally, I got home. And the thing is, there were all of these guys at my house, and it wasn't like they were trying to, like, I know you think you've heard this story. They weren't trying to get my wife, they were trying to get my cat. And the thing about a cat is that it's really hard to make friends with a cat unless you like really put in the time. And these people weren't. And so the cat saw me and they were like, haha, now give me the goods. So yeah,
And time.
perfect. Okay.
Oh, 2 minutes felt pretty good for getting a story out.
I think so too. That was choice.
Mhm.
Okay. What was one of the things that we tried to find our way home?
So you tried to use the stars.
Uh-huh.
You tried to pull over your sailboat, and
Uh-huh.
then some of your people got turned into animals. You
Uh-huh.
tried to ask the Cyclops. I imagine you talked to Lotus Eaters too, because I
We
think I know
did.
this story.
It's almost like you were on my sailboat. Okay.
Maybe just a little bit. No, that was a brilliant turn because like not only can we ask questions about like what is the kind of content or my factoid, it's like I know this story, except for the
Right.
cat twist, which is
Mhm.
amazing. I love
You have
it.
a
I love it
question
so
for
much,
me?
Molly.
Do you have a question?
uh ooh, challenge. Oh, there's a challenge twist. I will ask a question for you. um so you said you were a particular type of adventurer. What adventurer were you?
Oh God. Ah.
It's at the very beginning.
These are the trickiest questions, though. The ones from the very beginning. I don't know. Retired? I don't know.
You were a sailor, so you
Oh, I
clarified.
didn't know. Okay, okay. I
Yeah,
see. Yeah.
and
Okay.
that could be how they phrase the question too.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So challenge twist. Molly does her story, then Danielle rolls for my good part, but the story must be a continuation of Molly's story. And the next round, like we go back and forth and back and forth. Oh, we might be able
that
to
could
do
be
this.
fun.
Except I don't know the Odyssey, like or like any continuations of the
Well, you still
Odyssey,
have
but
to
yeah.
do your 2-minute one, and then
Okay,
we
yeah,
can
yeah.
start that.
And then we'll
Yeah.
switch to 1 minute ones.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay. Let's see. I'm very excited now.
Mhm.
Where are my numbers? Where do my numbers live?
At the number store.
If only. Okay, I'm ready when you have your 2 minutes for me.
Okay. Go.
So this is a story about how I got drafted for war, and it kind of sucked. Because it was not a war that I was particularly keen or involved in, but it took me from my beautiful island home all the way across the world. And then it really, really sucked because there are a lot of religious fanatics, and I was not into that. And so after that, I, helped save the king of my country, and he was like, cool, that's awesome. Got back, popped over back to my beautiful island nation, decided, you know what, I need to embrace nature and hang out outside for a little bit and enjoy all these, the good things in life. Unfortunately, there was a dude who was just bad vibing all over my wonderful different, little shire. And that was not cool. So I got all my friends together and said, no, we're not going to accept this. We are going to instead make you get out of our home. And, we had a bard, we had like a monk, there was a nice maid who hang out with me. I was kind of into her. I don't know how into me she was. We had a lot of tournaments that we tried to, I don't know why the tournaments seemed like a good idea to stop the evil dude, but we did participate in a lot of them. And really, I don't know how the middle happened, because it was like in my childhood that I recall this story, but that's okay. It all has a happy ending, and the king returns. He might have been a lion. I might have been a fox. All's good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you finished at about 1:37.
There we
So,
go. Yeah.
all right. Okay.
Okay. What? Let's see. Of my friends, you could just name like 2 of them that I talked about.
A bard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna guess a rogue. I really don't remember.
Nope, there was a maid.
A maid, of course, a maid.
I didn't mention my other friends that were tall and giant with a staff or any other
Right.
things.
Right.
And a monk, yes.
And a monk. Goodness. Okay. Does Chad have a question?
Chat, do you have a
Chat,
question?
you want to wipe the floor with me again?
I also was trying to phrase this in your style. What did you need to embrace? Nature and
Yes.
just natural living, good vibes.
Yeah.
Yay! Gay Robin Hood.
Mhm.
I very like that. It would be fun to deconstruct stories into their base parts and be like, why tournaments to like, I mean, yes, they're just making money, I guess. Yeah. Oh, there's only one. According, I guess media has failed me, because there's so many stories of Robin Hood and like the variations, and I was like, oh wait, the best one, ukulele.
Mhm, mhm.
This is fun.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to do 2 minutes? Do you want to do 1 minute, and then I will continue your story?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe let's do 1 minute, just since we're going to be keeping the same one going.
Yeah, and this will be the last round, audience, and then we will do our breakdown and thoughts, even though we've been kind of doing that still in the middle anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Before we start,
yes,
How many of the back and forths are we gonna do?
We'll just do one back and so you, me, you, me.
Okay.
Okay, I'll write Molly, me, Molly, me, and then I'll keep track. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do 1 minute apiece, and that should get us to close to time.
Mhm. Okay. So, yeah. Are you timing yet? No? Okay. All right. I used to live in this big old house, and I wasn't the first person, like I didn't build the house, I was just like renting it. And the kind of the landlady, I don't know, she still lived on the property. Her name was Nellie, not Nellie Bly. She said, "Hey, you want to hear the story? It's all about the people that used to live here." And one of them actually still lives up the hill, but I wouldn't recommend talking to him. He's not a nice guy. And so I said, "Yeah, sure." And it was kind of a dark, stormy night. And so there was nothing else going on. I didn't get the chance to leave. So I was just like, "Sure, yeah, let's kick it by the fire and you can tell me a story." Okay.
Excellent. Thank you for that setup. What is your question for me?
My question is, what was her name?
Not Nellie Bly.
Not Nellie Bly. Okay. Yeah.
Nellie, but not Nellie Bly.
Right.
All right. And I will tell, let me roll my
Mhm.
table. Okay. And give me a minute. And
Oh.
so Nellie told me the story by the fire, and it was a dark and terrible one. The owners of the house used to be this lovely family of 4. There was a mom and her 3 children. The dad, best not talked about. That's a different story for a different time. But in this story, she was trying to bake a cake for all their birthdays and do like a big feast type thing, but unfortunately didn't have ingredients. So she sent all 3 of her children through the dark, dark woods to go to the town to get some ingredients and come on back. And the first child went out, came back, brought the eggs. The second child went out, came back, brought the flour. And the third child went and came out and never came back again. And their cape was hidden in a tree underneath an owl. And the owl just keeps saying, who? And that's what I would like to know. Who hurt this poor child and where has the child gone to?
Okay. Wow. All right. What's your question?
What's my question? What's the animal? The only animal I gave because I didn't.
Owl.
I was supposed to give
Yeah.
animals for the rest of it. I was like, oh
That's
no.
right.
Well,
Okay.
this is an easy one.
Okay. Let me roll real fast to see what I'm supposed to be putting in this one. Okay.
Okay. And do you have a question for me to remember from the story?
Oh, what ingredient did the first child bring back?
Eggs. All right. And pencil and start.
So Nellie told me this tale, and it was very disturbing. And I mean, like I said, it was already kind of a dark and stormy night, so I was spooked. And so I thought, you know what? That's it for me. I'm going to turn in. I'm going to go to bed. And then something started making a sound outside my window, and I was like, what's happening? And so I went to see what threat is and that mystery explore, you might say. And um I looked out the window, I moved the curtain, and there were these 2 big eyes. And if you looked, they would turn and then they would turn and they would turn and they would say, "Ooh, ooh." Okay.
All right.
So hmm. Question. Why did I decide to go to bed?
I think you were tired because it was a dark and stormy night.
I was spooked.
You were spooked.
I was spooked.
Chat got it. Chat's winning.
Okay.
And I do have an observation for when we finish the story. But yeah, this has been really fun to explore.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Go.
And went the eyes that were attached to that owl, and in its talons was a red cape fluttering, the same cape from the story you heard before. And then it kind of also did this like beckoning motion, like because you're not moving, and so go down the stairs, follow the owl because that's what the owl wants, and you're not going to be able to get any sleep at night with this owl.
Right.
And into past the dark woods, past the hollow, up the hill where the Nellie said there was a survivor from the story, and in that house were the two sisters that from the lost child. And then they're like, who are you, stranger? What is going on? And then the owl had dropped the cloth and the cape, and they're like, oh no. And then they confess straight to you that they were the ones that actually took out their sister because they didn't want to share the cake at all that day. They thought that we don't actually need vanilla for the cake.
J'accuse! My goodness. Okay. Wow. Okay. What's your question?
My question is, how many times did the owl hoot?
Oh man. 2?
3 times. Who?
Darn it. Okay.
Chat got it. Chat, you were the victor.
Chat,
Truly.
what in the heck? You're just too good, okay?
And also, I think one like a delightful like this game works very well to have an asynchronous audience who doesn't actually want to engage or to like be in front of a camera, which can be really hard if you're doing hybrid programs. So I love that.
Very true. Very true.
That final last bit where we're like having to keep the previous story, my story, where will the story go, and questions that kind of added that mental, like I could definitely feel like when they're talking about the mental load of listening and the mental load of communication, just
for sure
keeping so many details. But I think what's fun was like sometimes you don't have to have all the details in a row, because my last bit was pretty like straightforward, but I think what I did was I made like a big shocking surprise at the end where it was like a twist.
Well, and the twist totally threw me off from what I was trying to pay attention to as well. I know my second one was not as detailed as my first one, but at that point I was like, oh man, gotta think of all the things, so no, this is really fun. And I think it's a good way to get people to kind of break out of their shells a little bit. Like I know a lot of we have a teen group of maybe like 10 to 15 max that are like regularly showing up to our programs, and there's like a pretty even split between those who want to talk all the time, want to do all the things, and the ones that are really shy. And you want to make sure they're okay and check in with them, but also like let them do their own thing if that's what they're more comfortable doing. And I feel like this game is a good kind of a good blend of those, because if they want to, like they could have the floor, but if not, then they can kind of sit back and just like be ready to answer the questions after.
Yeah, I love the asynchronous play of both speaking and listening, because
Yeah.
some of us are good at one and not the other and can stand to improve in different areas, but some of us just would rather listen than, engaged in that kind of fanciful story bit. And then I love anything that gives people with differing strengths a chance to shine, like you were talking about.
For sure. And I also really like that the game is encouraging creativity, especially if you set up a rule at the beginning or like midway through, like we did, where you're like, okay, it's not memories anymore. It's like nonsense. It's things you made up.
Mhm.
Because I know a lot of kids who are very creative and don't always feel like they've got an outlet for it,
Yeah.
or else they've decided that you are the outlet. And so they're going to shout all of their ideas at you really fast. And this is a good way of funneling that into
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely building off that, the idea that you are rewarded for a certain level of detail, but if you get past that into kind of a unwieldy mass of information, you understand the ramifications of, oh, it's going to turn back on me. How do I kind of streamline the story in a coherent manner and share the burden of kind of listening and hearing? So it's very, I like the kind of hands-on experience, like, because you could tell somebody like, now you got to have less details, or yes, as you be creative but not too, it's like, here you go, here's an experience of it.
Right. I also feel like this game, just on that, could work really well as like a writing workshop kind of thing,
Mhm.
or like a brainstorming, jumpstarting, getting ideas process, because again, sometimes it can be hard to find that right level of detail, like what's too much where you're just like, oh my gosh, get on with it already. But also like, we can't all be Ernest Hemingway, right? Like we got to have some longer sentences in here,
Mhm.
guys. So yeah, I feel like that can be really useful. And I mean, it's poetry month, y'all. Use this. Have your kids write some poems based on the things that they had.
Do an epic lyrical poet.
Yes. That'd be
That would
so
be so much
fun.
fun. Yeah, give everybody a chance to play with that. And I'd
Mhm.
like to remind everybody, this is for the next day, part of the trans uh, support trans rights in Florida bundle. So if you like this game, if you want to play lots more games in similar vein, it is there for you to pick up for $5. So wonderful cause, wonderful game. Definitely look it up. And
Mhm.
gosh, I do like these style games in general. Like, I know we generally play a micro game, but this has been even easier
Yeah,
rules wise than usual, which is makes sense because they built a game on communication. Of course, they communicate
for
the game
sure.
very well.
Right.
But again, easy to hack into different kinds of experiences.
Mhm.
Like if you wanted to have this one for say your regular D&D group wants a little bit of a different flair, you can say,
Mhm.
hey, this is part of this village's culture. They're doing a storytelling event where
Oh
if you
yeah.
tell a story very well, here's, and then the winner of that event, like in real life winner, gets to have,
It could
yeah.
be a D&D puzzle. Oh my gosh. Okay. Give me ideas. Okay. Yeah,
I love it.
for sure.
So many applications for the little games, and I do love them. And then the Beth and Angel Makes Games has a lot more in the same vein, very easy to pick up, rules light, different kinds of fun experiences to
Mhm.
play. So definitely recommend checking out more of their library.
Yeah.
We're almost at time, so I'm going to let chat. If you have any questions, just let us know. Molly, if you have any other thoughts, definitely let us know.
Oh goodness. I don't
Yeah,
know. I used all my thoughts on the game.
I know I can't think of any more questions
You're
or
right.
but yeah,
It was fun.
no questions, just excitement. Yeah, definitely. I
Okay.
think I'm gonna bring this one to annual as well and just be like, hello
Yes.
everyone. We're gonna tell stories right
Yeah,
now.
this would be a really good annual game for
And
sure.
definitely for people who don't understand or know that the genre of role playing is wider than just because
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons movie just came out. I'm sure that's on everybody's mind,
Right.
but storytelling is massive and there's so many little mini TTRPGs, and it can be very simple. It can be just like, hey, let's just tell stories back and forth and listen to each other.
Yeah.
So, well,
Mhm.
I think that's all. It was very low stress, not too much mayhem today. Thank you so much, audience, for coming and listening and participating with us. Thank you so much, Molly, for coming and telling stories with me.
Yeah, for
This
sure.
has been Games and Gaming Roundtable, Low Stress High Mayhem. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.